Okay, I just wanted to share a little story with you about the time I reloaded a whole bunch of 40 Smith & Wessons, and I got to the shooting range and I found out that 90% of them wouldn't go through the gun. It was Smith & Wesson 40 auto pistol. So I thought I'd do a little story about it. Somebody told me if you want to make a video that gets a YouTube video that gets a lot of attention, do the wrong thing with the wrong tool. So I thought about that and I thought, well, I'll share that story. So anyway, I saved up brass. I would sweep up all the brass. I go to shooting range pretty regularly, used to. I don't go anymore. And I would get 40s, 45s, 380s, and I separate them all out and I put them in there. And I had a whole bunch of 40s, and I had been reloading for a while, but I got into casting my own bullets. And a guy at work gave me a really nice 4-bullet mold, aluminum mold, to make bullets. So I made a whole bunch of them, and I'm loaded up maybe, I don't know, several hundred 40s. But what I didn't realize was I didn't have the dies going down far enough. So basically, I'll make it short, long story short, I was just neck sizing them. And I had only reused my brass until that time. But I cleaned all these brass that I had up and run them through the tumbler, and I reloaded up a whole bunch and got up to the range, and sure enough, 2 or 3 shot, and then they wouldn't shoot. And I said, oh, I don't know what's wrong. Let's just go back home and figure this out. The first thing I did, I guess that's why I'm including this story in there. I mean, my channel is mostly about machining, but being able to machine kind of got me out of that pinch. So the first thing I did was I made a piece of steel, took a piece of steel, and I mic'd the bore, the chamber of my gun, and I made this bore size to be exactly that. I think I even bought a little hone and I honed it out. So any bullet that would drop through there was going to work in the gun. So I separated out all the ones that would work. So then I had a bunch that wouldn't go through this. So I'll zoom in on it, or I'll take a picture of it. The bullets start out at the casing, and they taper up. They're solid lead. Like I say, I cast them myself, and I have a puller, this type of puller, and I have a 40. One of these is a 40. I have a 45. Here's a 40. These are just but this type of puller, you put it in the top part of your press, and then as you crank the handle, this it's like a collet. The collet's got slits all in it. I'll take photographs or up closes of it. It pulls in. Trouble is, the bullet sides were all tapered, and it wouldn't hold. I fought, and I mean, I got 1 or 2 off, and it's got a big chamfer. It's got an easy 30-second chamfer, so it was wanting to come off of there. So the only other choice would have been a hammer that you put the bullet in and pound the hammer and knock it all out. And I thought to myself, well, wouldn't it be nice if I could get those bullets to come up past the top of that press, and then I could just grab them with a pair of pliers and back off pull down with the handle and pull the bullet right off, just like the bullet puller does. Once you get a grip on it with this, you pull your press back down, and then it pulls the casing off, and the bullet stays up there. So at the time, I had a pair of those long pinchers that come, I guess, like they use to trim horses' hooves. I don't even know what they're called. And so I said, well, if I can get that bullet to come up past, I can grab it with that and then pull that bullet off. So I got the press set up here. I'll swing the camera over a little. Okay, so I had to manually focus it on there. Anyway, I made this piece to go, you can't see it. I made a piece to go in the press that got the bullets up above it. I could put that in there, pull it down, and I took those pliers and I gripped that, and I just, when I bumped it down, it pulled that bullet right off of there. I'm not going to pull this one off because this is a good one. But, and it worked really good. I pulled all those bullets off. I simply melted them down and made new ones. But, okay, so I finally got it zoomed in. This is the part. It was easy to make. Made it out of brass. This part, top part is steel. All I had to do was cut that, undercut there, cut that, and that fits right into the press. And then I had to make this top for it, and I'll take some pictures of it. It looks pretty good. Yeah, I'll just take some close-up photographs of it. But in order to cut this groove so that the bullet could be be received in there, I had to come up with an idea to cut that small groove. Cutting the main groove here was no problem. Just use an end mill for that. Yeah, there you can see better that way. Yeah, just cutting that part was no problem. So I cut that back with an end mill. But then I had to cut the groove in there to hold the, yeah, you can see it somewhat there, to hold the bullet in there. So I just grabbed an end mill and started grinding on it. But I just took that 1/2-inch end mill and I ground the heck out of it. And if I'd have had machinery to do it, I'd have probably done it that way. By this time I was kind of mad. I didn't want to pound them things out with a hammer type puller, and my bullet puller wouldn't work. So I was kind of left with not too many choices. So, and I still got this end mill. That was probably 10-12 years ago. So because I never know, I might have to make another one like that. Might have to pull it out and use it, but I'll take some close-ups of what it looks like. But I thought when I heard the term with the wrong tool, I thought, boy, that's a perfect example of the wrong thing to do right there. But the only thing I could say is it did work. So anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. It's gonna be a short video, and it did get the job done. I grabbed them bullets with pliers and knocked them right out of there, and didn't have gunpowder all over the place like I would have with the hammer. I could just dump the powder out and reuse it. And